Hi guys, it's my birthday and I'm taking myself book shopping. My birthday is actually on the 29th, which is hopefully the day that I get this video up. So today's not my actual birthday, but I will be doing all of my book shopping. Last year I got myself 24 books for my 24th birthday and that was a lot of fun, but I'm just simply not going to do that again. That was just an absurd amount of books. I really don't need to be buying that many at one time, but I still wanted to treat myself with a fun book shopping trip. And instead of just going in with no plan, I wanted to give myself kind of a challenge or a theme. And I 100% stole this from Allie. She did this a while ago and it seemed like so much fun. And that idea is buying myself a book for every color in the rainbow. Which technically I won't actually be doing the official like Roy G. Biv rainbow colors just because there's basically a light blue and a dark blue. So I will instead be doing red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. We're just skipping, I think, indigo. And then depending on how it's going and what I find, I might allow myself to get a white and a black, which would be a total of 8 books, which is a lot. So we'll see if that happens. Today's the only day that I could go shopping to get the video up on the 29th. And I really wanted to start at my local bookstore to see what I could find there, but they close at 6 o'clock every day and I got home pretty late from work. So unfortunately, we did not make it there and I will just be shopping at Barnes today. I am very excited, but I'm also kind of nervous because the parking garage is insanely full, so I think there's going to be a lot of people in there. And I get very nervous and embarrassed to film in public, so we will see how this goes. But I am roasting in here, it's 90 degrees and I turned the AC off, so let's just get going.
Hello, Ramona. I can't shake the simplest feeling beyond the ghost. We stand on the opposite shore. Hello, Ramona. I reach through mysterious ceilings, my only hope. I look for the things I don't know. I stand alone.
It's the next day and I am back for the haul part of today's video, the exciting part. Barnes was very crowded, but it wasn't as bad as I thought. And I feel like I was doing a pretty good job of trying not to be embarrassed and just filming. But then at some point, I just completely, I think, got sucked into the whole like book buying process. And I totally forgot I was supposed to be filming. And I actually was there for like 2 hours. It was a very fun 2 hours, but also, I will not lie, this was harder than I expected. It's not hard to walk into a bookstore and find a book for every color, but to find a book that I actually want, that's a different story. And I think I mentioned, but I really wanted to make sure that I wasn't just buying something that I had heard of once or like sounded interesting. I wanted to make sure it was something that I had had on my radar for a while already. So yeah, that was my plan and I feel like I was pretty successful. The colors that I really struggled with was red, orange, and purple, and I just didn't end up getting purple at all. And I will just start with the red and orange and explain myself. I actually did not find a red book yesterday. I almost picked up Vicious by V.E. Schwab so many times because I really want to read that and it's just an all red cover. It would have been perfect, but my boyfriend already has a copy, so I thought it would be really silly for me to buy my own copy when I can just borrow the one that he has. So I'm looking for something red and I remembered that I have bought only one book this whole month, which happened to be red. So I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna buy a book that I don't love. I will just let the book that I already bought work for the red one. And that book is 5 Broken Blades by Mai Corlin. I got this at Costco a few days ago and I could not stop myself from getting it because look at these cool sprayed edges. This is so cool. These beautiful end papers. And this is a new fantasy release that I've heard a lot of people talking about. I've heard mostly good reviews. Not everybody has loved it, but most people have at least enjoyed it. I haven't read Six of Crows yet, but I have heard people, I think, compare this to that. Six of Crows, I know they go on a heist. This one, it says, the 5 most dangerous liars in the land have been mysteriously summoned to work together for a single objective, to kill the God King June. I'm hoping that this will be a very fun, fast-paced, action-packed kind of fantasy. It is the first book in a new series, so there probably is going to be some world building and setup and stuff, but hopefully it will be a fun read. For my orange book, this is the other one that I kind of cheated on because I got Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, which as you can see is very much a rainbow. This is her newest release and everybody is loving it, and I knew that I really wanted it going in. I forgot that it was a rainbow cover, and I just kind of justified it to myself by saying I could just use this for whichever color I wanted to. And orange is really the only one that I didn't have a book for, but also the back has all orange and red, so I feel like I can get away with it because the back has orange and the whole like middle portion here is orange. So maybe I cheated a little, but it's okay. It's my game, it's my rules. This is a romance, and it's about these two people who have this sort of curse happening to them where everybody that they date, as soon as they break up with them, they end up finding like their soulmate or they end up getting married. So they feel like they are the one before the one. I think they find each other online on a Reddit post and they're like, since we both have this curse, how about we date each other, and then when we break up, we will find our happily ever after. I have heard that this is very emotional and kind of heartbreaking, so people say do not let this cutesy cover fool you, and I am a little bit scared to see what that means. But I have really loved the 2 books that I've read by Abby Jimenez, so I'm very excited to get to this one soon, and obviously I feel like it's a perfect book for the summer. Moving on to Yellow, I got Beach Read by Emily Henry. I know I am one of the last people on earth to read this book, but I've actually only read People We Meet on Vacation by her, and I know that's like everybody's least favorite book by her, and I did enjoy it, so I am looking forward to continuing reading more from her. I think this one was everybody's favorite before Happy Place and what's the new one called? Funny Story. Before those 2 came out, I think this one was most people's favorite. I actually don't remember what it's about. It's obviously a romance, and they are both authors. The woman writes romance books and he writes literary fiction. It says they are polar opposites, and for 3 months they are going to be living in neighboring beach houses. They're both trying to get over their writer's block, and they decide to switch genres. So he tries to write a romance and she tries to write a literary fiction. I feel like Emily Henry and Abby Jimenez are kind of similar authors to me. I think I really enjoy both of their writing, and I want to read more of their backlist, so this is going to help me accomplish that. And it's obviously another perfect summer read. It's called Beach Read for a reason. For the color green, I got Nora Goes Off Script by Annabelle Monaghan. I feel like everyone is reading this right now. I know for sure all of the like book besties, I think that they all just read this and all of them really enjoyed it and said it was a great summer read. I guess there's definitely a theme to some of the books that I got, but this is a literary fiction and I think it has some romance subplot maybe to it. It says our main character Nora is a romance channel screenwriter, but her husband leaves her and her 2 kids. Oh, and she writes the whole like situation with her marriage into a script, and then it gets picked up to be a TV show that they're going to film at her home, and I think the love interest is the man who plays her ex-husband. I had no idea what this was plot-wise, but that sounds really interesting. Like I said, it was in the literary fiction section, so I think there has to be a lot more going on than just the romance. But yeah, it sounds very interesting. It's also a super short read, so I feel like this is perfect to just bring down to the pool with me. For the color blue, I got A Curious Beginning by Deanna Raybourn, which is the first book in the Veronica Speedwell series. I have been wanting to start this for so long, all because of Katie's reading. She really loves this series and always talks about it. I have always wanted to read it, but I realized that I have been looking in the wrong section. How could I be so stupid? I've been looking in the wrong section. I thought that this was a fantasy book or a young adult, so I've always been looking in those sections, but then I looked it up on my phone and it is in the mystery thriller section. It probably has no fantasy elements to it whatsoever, but for some reason I thought maybe it did. This seems like it's very silly and goofy, but also maybe kind of intense and gruesome. I could be making all of this up, but it really seems like one of those like mystery thrillers that's very lighthearted and fun. It takes place in London in 1887. Veronica is an orphan and she travels around the world for scientific purposes. But then I guess somebody tries to abduct her, and then this Baron offers her sanctuary with his friend Stoker. I think that Stoker is the love interest, but then the Baron ends up dead before he can really give them any information. So Veronica and Stoker are on the run and they become partners, and like I don't really know what else happens. I thought they were grave diggers. Did I make that up? Maybe that's one of the other books. I don't know. I am somebody who likes to go into books pretty blind, so obviously that was my first time reading the synopsis. I just know that Katie really loves this. It sounds like it's fun. I've always wanted it but never found it because of my own fault, so I was very excited to see it. And I actually found a lot of books that I wanted that were all blue, but this one trumped them all. This was the one I had to have. So you know how I said I wasn't gonna get indigo because indigo and blue are just 2 different shades of blue? Yeah, well, I was wrong. As I said, I did not get purple, but I did get indigo. And honestly, I don't know if this really counts as indigo, but it's quite literally Indigo Ridge by Devney Perry. And I feel like some of this cover is definitely veering towards purple. And I think that indigo is just blue fading to purple, question mark. But it has indigo in the name, so I'm definitely going to count it. I have been wanting to start the series for so long, but I never bought the physical copy because they are on Kindle Unlimited, so I try not to do that. If a book's on Kindle Unlimited, I want to read it there first before I buy a copy of it. But I just couldn't come up with a purple or another indigo option, and I have always wanted it. I always look at the physical copies when I'm in Barnes. So I was like, you know what? It's my birthday. I'm treating myself. I will just finally pick it up. So hopefully I like this and I don't regret that choice. Oh my gosh, the font is huge. This should be a very quick read. This is the first book in the Eden series, which I think is a small town interconnected romance series, but there's always some sort of subplot of like mystery thriller or murder mystery. The town is Quincy, Montana, and Winslow is the new chief of police, and she is our main character. And the love interest is Griffin Eden, and the Eden family is kind of like small town royalty. They kind of like run the town. I think she's trying to get in good with the Eden family because she's the new chief of police. She wants to get along with them. They hold a lot of power, that sort of thing. And obviously some sort of romance happens between the two of them. Sounds like it's kind of an enemies to lovers situation, but then they find a dead woman on his property. So the two of them have to work together to kind of investigate and figure out what happened. I've definitely heard that these aren't the best written books, but that they're just like fun, quick, easy reads. So I'm very excited to finally start the series and see what I think. So that's all the colors minus purple. But I did let myself get a black and white book because of course I did. But honestly, it wasn't for me. It was just the logical thing to do. I say that because I got books 3 and 4 in the Red Rising series. Morningstar is book 3 and then Iron Gold is book 4. Originally it was a trilogy, so this was the last book, and then a few years after he came out with this one. And I think that we're on to book 7 by now, or maybe book 7 comes out next year. I am currently in the middle of book 2 and I am loving this series, so I definitely want to get to it soon. And these just so happen to be black and white, so they fit exactly what I needed. So I was really happy to get these. The series is getting progressively chunkier, and so I'm a little bit scared. This one isn't awful, but let me see. I don't want to spoil something for myself. Okay, it's about 500 pages. This one is quite chunky. It is 600 pages. So I do think whenever I get to these, they are going to take me a substantial amount of time to get through, but that's okay because they are so much fun and they're actually very fast paced. So maybe they won't take me that long. In case you don't know what Red Rising is, it's an adult science fiction, and I don't normally do science fiction, but it's super popular, and a lot of people say even if you don't read sci-fi, you should definitely give it a try. And I agree, I'm so glad that I did. I'm only on book 2, but I do really enjoy it. It's something that you definitely want to go into as blind as possible, just because it's very fast-paced, and in the first 100 pages of book 1, you just get a lot thrown at you, but in a good way, I thought. Like, it was very entertaining, very engaging, very shocking. So I think it's best if you don't really know anything that happens going into it so that you are surprised like I was. Most people say it's like Hunger Games in space, and it definitely does have some Hunger Games kind of vibes to it, but in my opinion they're pretty different. In this world there is a hierarchy based on what color you are. So golds are at the top, reds are at the bottom, and there's like 10 more colors in between. And your color dictates pretty much your entire life. What job you have, where you live, everything. And our main character is Darrow, who is a red, so he's at the very bottom of society. And if you want to know what else happens, you just have to read it. So this is my very exciting birthday haul. It was really fun to let myself go book shopping and actually buy a lot of books at once because I try not to do this anymore. And it was definitely a challenge trying to pick one book for each color. If you are wanting to go on a book shopping spree, I would recommend that you try it out. Thanks to Allie for coming up with the whole video idea. I think she is so creative. But yeah, that's everything. I'm excited to go find a home for all of these on my shelves. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye!